Hi, welcome to this month's womensministry.net video devotional. I'm Jennifer Rothschild and I'm so glad that you joined me. Today, I want to tell you a story that I tell on my Missing Pieces Bible study video, and it might help you know why you will be okay. Have you ever heard anyone say to you, it'll be okay, when something happens, it'll be okay, don't worry, it will be okay. Or maybe you've even said to someone when they're struggling, it will be okay. Well, my husband Phil said it will be okay to me early this year after we hung up from a phone call with my doctor. And I got to be honest with you, it did not feel like it would be okay. You see, I had a few mammograms that had come back each time questionable and then concerning the doctor a little bit. So eventually I had to have a double needle biopsy to see what it was that the mammogram was finding. And when the biopsy was complete, the doctor made an appointment on the phone with my husband Phil and I, and so he called us. And I remember we were sitting at the table similar to this, and we had our cordless phone sitting between us, and it was on speakerphone. And so the doctor began to explain that what he found was concerning. It was atypical cells, and I was going to need to have a lumpectomy, a double lumpectomy. Well, I didn't expect that. Now, he did tell me that he thought from what he saw that most likely it was going to be benign, but of course they didn't know, and they have to be cautious, and so he told me that they needed to schedule a lumpectomy. Well, we hung up the phone, and Phil and I were both real quiet, and then all of a sudden, Phil says, okay, this is doable. It will be okay. And for some reason, when he said it will be okay, it didn't make me feel better. And I thought, well, I trust the Lord, so yes, it will be okay. And then I realized I don't know if it will be okay. I don't know what the results will be. This could be malignant. I had an aunt with breast cancer. I don't know if it will be okay. But when I really sat there and thought about it, I realized it may not be okay, but I will. And the reason I will be okay is because of God's will. So you may be in a situation where you don't know if it will be okay. But I want to tell you that even if it will not be okay, you will be okay. And there's two scriptural reminders that I want to give you so that you can be assured that you will be okay. The first reminder is that God works everything for good. Everything. That's what Romans 8:28 says. Do you know the same God who imagined the stars and then spoke them into existence is the same God who is orchestrating every bit of your life and pulling it all together so that it will work for good? You see, you will be okay because God's work within and around you is good. And so because His will is good, He will bring a good result. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that a prognosis will be benign rather than malignant. I mean, God's definition of good in His dictionary may not read the same as ours, but we can be assured because of His character that He will work it for good. The second reminder is not only does God work all things for good, but it is God who works in you, both to will and to work for His good pleasure. That's what Philippians 2:13 says. In other words, God is working not only outside, pulling all the circumstances together for good, but He's working within you for His good pleasure. And what is God's good pleasure will always be for your ultimate good. So you may not know if it will be okay, but because of God's work in you, you will be okay. Why will you be okay? Because God's will is perfect. So rest in that today. You may be watching this video today with some friends, or maybe you just need to call a friend because maybe you need to tell her you will be okay. Sometimes all we hear is it will be okay, but what really gives rest to our souls is when we know we will be okay. So minister to each other today and encourage each other that God's work is perfect and His will is perfect, and that's why you will be okay. I'm really glad you joined me today. Please come back and visit womensministry.net because the community is always better when you show up.